Namaste and welcome to this particular series, sir. Thanks again for joining. As we all know, Parthasarathy sir has already taken a couple of sessions before in this series, and today he is going to talk in this Swatantra Bharat 75 series on a topic Balarama, father of Indian agriculture. It's over to you, sir. Kindly start your session. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My pranams to all the scholars who are listening. Sir, is my voice okay?
Yes, sir, it is okay. Okay.
Okay.
You can speak little louder if you want. You can speak, otherwise it is okay.
No, I will do it. One second, please. Is it okay now?
Yes, it is coming. Voice is coming properly.
Actually, I have reduced my voice once more. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir, it is okay.
Thank you.
Fine. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, Balarama, father of Indian agriculture. It is customary for Western scholars and Indian scholars to follow the Westerners, especially historians, to give credit to everything India had as a gift from the Western countries. For example, agriculture in India, we said that came from Mediterranean region from the remote past period. But we have as internal evidence that agriculture must have developed independently in India, and we have got wonderful literary sources and traditional sources also. Only part of the tradition is in literary, present is in literary sources like Purana, Vedas, etc. There are about 9,000 varieties of rice in the world. Out of the 9,000 varieties, there are 7,000 varieties are in India. And wheat is again a native crop of most of the area north of India. And there are ample evidence to show that these strands are independently developed, and then they have discovered in UP from the archaeological sites belong to about 5,000 BC or 7,000 BCE rice strands. So this shows that the interaction with West, as they proclaim, came to us only about 1,000 or 1,500 years or 2,000 years before Common Era. It is not true. And indirectly, we can see they acclaim, or many Western scholars indirectly, they have acclaimed our claims or Indian idea that agriculture is deep rooted in Indian tradition without acknowledging, as in the case of geomorphology, a lot of Indian Puranic concepts have been taken by Westerners and developed scientifically, even though they have not openly said these ideas are embedded in Puranas. They have taken the ideas, and that has been revealed by other scholars. For example, Holmes, a great geologist who lived in the 20th century, he talks about Dutton and Suez, great geologist, who talked about the continental drift theory and isostasy, tetrahedral, like the very great, important, the geological theories, geomorphological theories, you can say. And he claimed that these people are influenced by Indian Puranas. But in their book, or in their ideas, they have not revealed that such ideas are present in the Puranas. So, in this case also, we find, even from the early Greeks and everything, they have written in their books that agriculture is deep rooted in India. Only our scholars independently deal with the book. They study the let's say Herodotus, or they study the Megasthenes, Indica, and other books, but treat it as a historical chronicle and not something connected to geography. So, in this lecture, let us see how deep rooted the Indian agriculture and how Balarama and two more people are very important in promoting the agriculture practices in India from remote past. Halarama avatar. Balarama is also called as Halarama. This Halarama is or Haladhar because this is plough. Plough is in Sanskrit called Hal. So it's known as Halarama. So it's white in color. He is sporting Kadamba flowers, garland of Kadamba flowers. His birth is recorded in Srimad Bhagavata Purana, Vishnu Purana, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Mahabharata, and Harivamsa, and many more texts. Balarama is Amsa of Krishna and also Lord Mahavishnu, and he is Amsa of Adisesha. Balarama is much extolled in Brahma Vaivarta compared to other Puranas, and then in Bhagavata Purana. He is also known as Sankarshana Amsa of Yuga Vasudeva. In Sri Vaishnavism, we have got Vishnu manifests himself in 5 forms: Para, Vyuta, Vibhava, Antaryami, Archa. The Para Vasudeva, as he is called, is Narayana in Vaikuntha. Another is Vyuga Vasudeva, who is the in Kshirabdi, the Mahavishnu in Kshirabdi, who is in charge of all the creation. His body itself is cosmic body, and he creates all the world through his navel, which is essentially symbolic. And all Srishti, Sthiti, and Samhara, creation, sustenance, and destruction, is done by his 3 more Amsa of Vyuga Vasudeva, that's Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. This Sankarshana Amsa is the Amsa of Adisesha, which is responsible for the destruction of the world. He is also Amsa of Shiva and Adisesha. During Pralaya, Sankarshana fire destroys all the world. Samyati Akarshana, it consumes everything, so he is called Sankarshana. So during Pralaya, this Agni that emanates from the oceans that destroys most of the species. He killed during Mahabharata period as Balarama he killed Dhenukasura, Pralambasura, and Mushtika. He taught Gadayuddha to both Duryodhana and Bhimasena that we find from the Mahabharata and also Bhagavata. He dragged the Yamuna river towards him for his amorous sports. He dragged Hastinapur to Ganga as Duryodhana imprisoned Sri Krishna's son Samban, who secretly courted Duryodhana's daughter. Along with Sri Krishna, he burnt Varanasi. Before Sri Krishna's return to Vaikuntha, he took his original self as a white serpent. Adisesha is white in color, and entered into the body of Sri Krishna. There is one version, and entered into the ocean near Somanath is another version. These are some of the ideas present about Balarama in Bhagavata Purana, and some of them have clear geographical connotation about which we will see in the course of our lecture. Padma Purana says, Sankarshano Mahavishnu Vidya Bala Samanvita Kalasya Sarvabhutanam Rudrasya cha Yamasya cha Antaryamitvam Astaya Jagat Samharate Prabhu. So this is a beautiful sloka revealing the greatness of Balarama, who is Sankarshana Amsa. Sankarshano Mahavishnu. He is part of Mahavishnu's part, Vyuga Vasudeva. And the third one about Vasudeva is the Para Vibhava. That is the avatars of Vishnu is called Vibhava Vasudeva. Then Antaryami, when the God who resides in the heart of every soul as Paramatman, within the Atman, he lives as Paramatman and Archa in all temples. So this he is in the Vyuha Vasudeva, Sankarshana Amsa of destruction. He is Vidyavala Samanditaha. Kalasya Sarvabhutanam Rudrasya cha Yamasya cha. So he is a Kala Purusha because time is responsible or time is associated with everything. That is why even in Narayaniyam of Bhattatri, Melputtur Bhattatri from Kerala, who has synthesized Mahabharata Bhagavata in 1,000 slokas of Narayaniyam. And even Bhagavatam clearly says, every time when after the Pralaya, Vishnu goes to the yoga sleep, instructing the Kala to be awake and awake him for the next cycle of creation. So Kala is the Amsa of Mahalakshmi. It does not go to philosophical side. And this Kala is also an Amsam of the Adisesha. Rudrasya Yamasya. So Rudra, as a Rudra, Kala as an Amsa of Rudra, he destroys the worlds during the Pralaya period. And Yamasya. Yama in the intervening living period, periodical killing of people or taking their lives is done by Yama. So that Amsa is also, all destruction Amsa is part of Mahavishnu. Antaryamitvam Astaya. Actually, he resides in the heart of everybody. And this worshipping of this Adisesha Amsa of Balarama, or Balarama in the form of Adisesha, especially during dhyana, actually helps attaining the oneness with the presiding deity we are praying. So in yoga, the role of Adisesha is given very much importance. And Patanjali Mahabhashya of Panini, Sutra 234, refers to many minor deities, and Balarama is actually added to it. There are many temples for Balarama. In ancient days, there were temples for Balarama throughout India. In Tamil Nadu also, in Changamala literature, we find temples for the Mahabharata heroes. One is Sri Krishna, then Balarama, Dharmaraja, Yudhishthira, Arjuna, Draupadi. In Tamil Nadu, Draupadi Amman temple is very, very famous. And one more thing, temples of Gandhari. We don't have in Tamil Nadu temples for any temple. There is no temple for Kunti. But for Gandhari, we have temple. Apart from that, traditionally many families, many sections of the society are worshipping Gandhari. And even in Chennai, even today, there is, in my own area, there is a transport company which says Gandhari Transport. So the Mahabharata heroes and prominent person in Mahabharata are worshipped throughout India, and we find the venerable shrines for them even today. Famous temples of Balarama at present, Baladeva Mandir at Vainsa district of Namansar, Punjab, Puri Jagannath Temple, Kendrapara Baladevji Temple, Ananda Vasudeva Temple, and there were in the around the Mathura region there are about 6 temples are there, and there is a temple also in Ganjam district of Andhra Pradesh, and there are many temples there are temples which were Shiva, Vishnu, Krishna, Balarama. In Kerala, by many, and especially by Pandava brothers. Balarama temple at Malpe in Kerala, the Balarama temple, Alua, then Malur Balarama temple, Nenmini Balarama temple, Balarama shrine in Aramulla which is part of the Parthasarathy temple there. Then, in olden days, coins were issued by Mauryans, Kushans, and Guptas and Indo-Greeks. And the coins, many coins contain on one side Sri Krishna, on the other side Balarama with their insignias. So this is the coin of Heliodorus, the Indo-Greek, who called himself as Parama Bhagavata. He embraced Hinduism and called himself as Parama Bhagavata. He has issued this beautiful coin with the insignias, and also the letters are in Greek. His birth is recorded in many Puranas, which say, Garbhas Sankarshanattam Vai Prahuhu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Lokaramana Romanamnat Balad Balabhadram Balochayat. As he is removed from the Devaki's womb and placed in another, the womb of Rohini, he will be called Sankarshana. As he is endearing to all, he will be called as Rama. Because of his strength, he will be called Balarama. Now, let us go to some of the ideas on agriculture growth and development process as described by some of the Western scholars. One is the Friedrich Ratzel. He is a German geographer and he is a human geographer, and he is considered to be father of modern determinism. There are two theories, or two or three theories which say determinism, possibilism. There are two main theories. Determinism says that the natural conditions in any land is totally responsible for the cultural development of the people, including the mental growth and all faculties of the human beings are governed by the nature. That is, if you have got favorable conditions, that society develops. If the conditions are unfavorable, the society does not develop. Moreover, in the society, there is a sequential development in economic activities of the society. He wrote a book called Anthropogeography. One of the main theories is sequent occupants or sequence of occupation. What he says is every society undergoes changes in economic activities as a sequence. First, in a society, in any area, resources may be there, but from the primitive. That is, it's possible only when the society is allowed to develop itself from the primitive condition. If you are, suppose you are settling in a new place, that is different. But in any area, given an opportunity, the society develops in this following manner. That's what he says, that hunting and gathering is the first lowest activity. Then the people develop the grazing, then shifting agriculture. It is also known as slash and burn culture. Then subsistence, that is sedentary agriculture. People live in the same area, cultivate the land again and again. Then commercial grain farming. You produce, after once you have mastered the land and climate and are able to manage the crops, you cultivate more and trade. So then for commercial purpose, you start producing more than what you require. Commercial grain farming, plantation agriculture. That's one more important thing, which is this is not an essential food, but it's a fashionable food, but something interesting. And the dairy. So these are the sequence of any society. Actually, he based his thing based on the Western societies that he has seen. But at the same time, it has got deep significance he has derived from Indian origin. This idea is clearly found in Vayu Purana, that we will see a little later. Indian sacred texts contain lot of geographical information and historical facts clothed in mysticism. See, in the 18th and 19th century itself, in Germany and Holland and France and many of the Western European countries, parts of the Puranas were translated in their language. Germany actually carried more information. They were more interested in ancient India. And so they developed many theories, most in human geography and other physical geography, climate, etc. So here, Frederick Ratzel and other people, they had definitely knowledge about many uh, information available in the Purana. For example, in all German literary magazines and newspapers also, they used to publish poems which are connected to our Puranas. For example, there is one small poem, German poem, but its translation is English, is, "Oh, Vishwamitra, you fought so well for the cow, verily you are the bull." So the story of Vishwamitra fighting with Vasishta for cow Nandini. So two bulls will fight for a cow, and so Vishwamitra is elegized as a bull. So that in this way, many prominent Puranic themes were expressed in their local literature. To that extent, our Puranas are familiar to those people. So they would have seen our ideas from Vayu Purana, if I say so, is not an exaggeration. And he says these changes, how these changes or sequence takes place, he says, it happens because of increasing population. When population increases, then naturally you have to change from food gathering. You have to have more food. So agriculture can give you more food in a society living in the same area again and again without shifting. So you just shift to another thing. Like that, it go on changing. Increase in population, external influence, a leapfrog method. For example, let us say the coffee and tea gardens in the Western Ghats. So those people, the local people, Todas and Badagas, were engaged in animal herding only. Mandu, actually, animal herds are known as, are simple shifting agriculture. But now the Europeans settled, or Europeans started staying there during summer vacation. The governors went to Darjeeling, and in Pune also, the Bombay governor went. Like that, they went to many mountain resorts. So there, they developed the crops they needed and destroyed the vegetation. So even though the plantation agriculture is supposed to come in a sequence to that the mountain areas of Assam and Western Ghats, it came suddenly because of the interaction with the superior culture or different need. So that is called leapfrog method. Then climatic changes, fluvial, interfluvial period. There are periods when rainfall will be more for many years. There are periods when rainfall will be low for many years in any area, region, country, or the continent. So in India, as far as India is concerned, from 10 years to 1000 years, there were periods of heavy rainfall and also periods of dryness. So the 10-year period is usually known as, we say, 12-year famine. This is even from Vedic period. We have got number Vedic period, Puranic period, Itihasa period, even historical period. Even it is said that Chandragupta Maurya is actually at the fag end of his rule. They had 12 years of famine, and he came to Chandragiri. So, like that, there are a number of famines reported, which is caused by 12-year continuous spell of 12 years of dryness. Like that, geography says, the paleoclimatology says that about up to 1000 years, such a dryness can happen as far as India is concerned. So climatic changes, then then river capture, then a river is flowing in a region and it is captured in the upper side by another river. In the lower end of the captured river, there may not be any water, so people will go away from the place. That's why we find in Tamil Nadu, the climate will be moving from Kanyakumari, of course, to the Pala region, or from the Pandyas, Cholas, and then Pallavas, and then even in North India. So this cycle of dryness will go on moving from Kanyakumari to Himalayas. So many of the kingdoms fail or fall not only because of being defeated by the neighbor, other king, but also because of changes in the climate. So agriculture is not possible. People move away from the place. So other people where the conditions are favorable, they gain political and economic prominence. For example, when Pallavas were ruling, they had the Pala river and Bhagavati river as important rivers in the region. Today, the Pala and Bhagavati river are nothing but almost dry or very, very seasonal streams. So such changes also affect the people and their activities, agricultural activities. Periodic drying up of rivers or general climatic change, more than one factor may affect the region. Then another important human geographer is L. Huntington. He is an American geographer. He is an environmental determinist. He has written a book called Human Geography, Principles of Human Geography. He has given many beautiful concepts. He says, pulsations in human history and climate and civilization. That's what he says. That is, people will not, unless some of the books like Homo sapiens says, the moment there's some population reaches a threshold level, they have to move as a new group. It's not, people don't move unnecessarily. Even from the, even during famine area, people even die there. They don't just go because they are not sure of getting jobs, getting food in the other area, but they don't get here. Some will try, but many may not try. So they say, but if nature dries the particular area, climate changes, he may be forced. For example, the Mongols from the 7th century to 11th century, the whole Mongolia and Central Asia, rainfall became very scarce. And because when the rainfall became very scarce, they have nowhere to move away. But people will be reluctant. But how can the people be motivated? Some leader will come and he will have a religious background, and that will induce. See, people are even from primitive stages, they are influenced by the primitive gods or whatever the gods may they religion they take. So even the Genghis Khan, who marshaled the Mongols to fight everywhere, he actually is motivated by his native deity. He used to say he will be in a trance, and his deity will say, "Go to the country. I will be assisting you. You will be." So in this way, he went and conquered. So the land was dry. So whereas other areas were wet in the whole the continent, that they invaded, and to invade, they got a reason because goddess has given permission. Their god is supreme. Similarly, in Arabia, previously Iran, Iraq, and other surrounding area, Persia, they are all well developed, and also rivers were flowing there, whereas Arabia not. So they were living there in a sort of what we can say the nomadism. But when a proper philosophy is given that your God is supreme and you can go and propagate, so they get a motivation. So ideas will develop. Like that, in the 19th and 20th century, Germany also had the idea of the social Darwinism. Man is a social animal. Like any other animal, if a growing animal requires more food, so you can kill. If a strong animal will kill weak animal. So that is Darwinism. So this is social Darwinism. A powerful country can take up the weak country. So we want more space, more food for more population, labor strong. So that is the German slogan. So all these things have developed because of some of the geographical condition. And this geographical condition is translated by ideas. Even today, even in our own independence is actually promoted by the ideas given by our great leaders. Okay. So this type of movements start not regularly at some intervals when conditions are favorable. That's called pulsations of human history. And temperate climate is dominating climate. Again, this is a very beautiful sentence. That is, he says that the moderate climate, if it is very, very hot, it will be enervating climate. People will not have any energy to work, think, fight, nothing they will do. They will become very tired. When Indians went as coolie to South Africa to lay railway lines, they worked for 20 minutes, they took rest for 40 minutes. No, that go. So like that, in very cold area also, there are no resources, so people will not be dynamic. People, their mental faculties and physical faculties will not have. But in the temperate region, when neither hot nor cold, moderate, that's ideal climate. So what he says, temperate climate is dominating climate, and what he says, 75 degrees of Fahrenheit or 17 degrees centigrade. That is now our normal temperature in any office in Europe or America, 70 degrees, 60 to 70 degrees or 65 degrees Fahrenheit is the, or 15 to 17 degrees or 17 to 20 degrees, whatever it may be, is the ideal temperature in AC or in the central AC in all the buildings everywhere. So this is the ideal temperature. 4 months of agriculture season, at least one season that we 4 months for cultivation of crop of rice or wheat. So if you have plus industrial resources are there, that country will develop. So these are the favorable conditions. Why do we talk like this? Because he says all great civilizations are all in all lands where great civilization existed, existing, will exist, depends on this climate. What is the most important takeaway here is what you call ancient civilization, Persian civilization, that is in the Iran, Iraq, and then the Egyptian civilization and Indus Valley civilization. They were all present day, they were all deserts. They are all deserts. Now, how come the great civilization, you want moderate climate, he says, during their period, 5,000 years back, 6,000 years back, when those civilizations were flourishing, they are all about 7,000, 8,000 years back. So, they enjoyed moderate climate, temperate climate, because at that time only, about 10,000 BCE only, the last ice age ended. So, the world was very cool. North of Himalayas, everything was frozen. So it was very cool. So the water, the ice started melting, rivers were flowing, climate was very mild. So the civilization developed in the initially. Then after some time, what happened? Because the ice age started disappearing, the temperature started rising. After a few thousand years, these lands have become very hot. So civilization moved to the north, that is Greece and Rome and other areas it moved. Then after 2000 years, it moved again into Spain, Portugal, and other areas. Then further, later 500, 600 years back, it moved to England, France, Germany, and other countries. And today we have the United States, Soviet Union, and Canada, and Norway, Sweden. These countries are well developed and better conditions because the temperature is increasing. General temperature on the globe is increasing, and so civilization is increasing. So the idea is temperate climate is dominating climate. So what we say is, when we say that agriculture came from India itself, or India had its own agriculture or development process or sequence of development process, it shows that India had from the remote past an ideal climate for agriculture. But even though the temperate climate has disappeared to a great extent in India, we got, fortunately, with God's blessing, so many rivers, about 22 major rivers are there, and they are enriching. So the legacy of early civilization is continuing. Then El Nino and La Nino current, they also affect, such things also affect. Then civilization thrive always in temperate climate. Since Earth is warming, civilizations move northwards in northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere, no question at all, because ocean actually predominates. Hallmark of any civilization is the development of sedentary agriculture. Though river plains are said to be the cradle of civilization, not all river basins can boast of having one. India is one among the few nations which have a long agricultural history. See, all these rivers, many rivers have been existing for the past thousands of years. In Europe also, you have got these rivers, Thames and other things, whatever maybe, are in Italy, they have got four rivers, another Germany rivers. But Danube, but did they help them to develop a great civilization in the remote past when India had a civilization? No. So, and there are many regions, even the Amazon region, with all that you will see, great civilization, the flourishing civilization, world civilization has not developed. Maybe civilization is there, but it has not encompassed the world. That's what we say. Then paleoclimatology of India. 10,000 to 5,000 BCE. BCE is before Christ or before Common Era, that is before 2000 years. This is the early golden age of India. The glaciers started melting, feeding the streams with plenty of water. The climate was moderate, though winter was very cold. Even in Tamil literature, the winters are described as very cold. And we know that the people, the literary evidence is that people made clothes from the hair of rodent, rats and rodents. That is, they must have had longer hair. That's what. See, today we have woolen garments. In South India, we don't have, except in Bangalore region. But North India, you have, because you have got a pronounced winter season there. But traditionally, in Sangam period, about 3,000 years back, we had a clear winter here, and we require a winter garment. That's an evidence in the literature. The Kashmir Valley started getting rid of ice on her mountains. The glaciers have broken the mountains, and more Himalayan tributaries joined the main rivers. Early Sangam period thrived in the south during this period. So, then about 5,000 years ago, some scientists say, no, 10,000 years ago. See, this is the map you can see, El Nino and La Nina effect. See, previously, before 10,000 years or 5,000 years, whatever may be the exact date of or approximate date of origin of ocean current. Actually, what is El Nino current? In the west of South America, there is a cold current. See, this blue line is there. This blue line is a cold current known as Humboldt current, because he discovered that. And it's also known as the Peruvian Chilean current, going in the western coast of Peru and Chile countries. And the white line shows that is the warmer water. So it goes to the tropical region and moves to the Australia. So during the summer season, when land is very hot in India and other regions, more warm, moist air from the Indian Ocean and Australia will move towards India. Previously, there was no such current. So all the winds went to India some 10,000 years back or 5,000 years back, I have to say. That is the middle part, up to the middle part of Indus Valley civilization or Saraswati civilization. And so India was getting, apart from the Saraswati river, all the tributaries, it was getting plenty of water at the time from the monsoon rain. So Indus Valley is mainly the agriculture of Indus Valley, pasture lands of Indus Valley is supported by by the rivers as well as the rainwater. But after the creation or after the evolvement of the cold current, what happened? Out of 6 years, 3 years, much of the air moves towards southern. So the rainfall in India decreased. So those years when rainfall is more, they call it as El Nino effect. That is, the El Nino means they say the child Jesus. And those years when the rainfall is very scarce in their area, they call the La Nina effect, or that is where when we get more water in India, that's a La Nina effect. The effect more air will go towards India side this way. So La Nina is sister of Jesus. So this is something like it we call Mahavishnu and her own elder sister in their name. So the La Nina years help us. So this is attributed to be one of the most important reasons for the movement of or decline of Saraswati river civilization. Then that is the 5000 BCE. Then period between 5000 BCE and 1000 BCE is most important in Indian culture and polity. This period is the most important as it is introduced revolution in agriculture practices in India. This positively influenced economy, religion, and society. To understand this, we have to understand the food habits of people of ancient India at that time. The Puranas, epics, and Sangam literature provide ample information in this regard. The books written by Megasthenes and Aryan and the edits of Emperor Ashoka, though came 2000 years later, support our hypothesis. Puranas on human civilization. Puranas are very clear that though the land was created long back and species evolved gradually, human civilization is a recent origin. So, Chakshusantare sthite prapte vaivasvate punaha. See, this is what they say. So, Vayu Purana and Bhagavata Purana, they are very clear that there is a continuation of the Chakshusa Manvantara, last 6th Manu, and now we are in the 7th Manu, when the whole continents and the climatic systems settled during the end of the Chakshusa period. Actually, this coincides with the geographical and geological studies. So it continues. The human evolution is only in Vaivasvata Manvantara. So more importance given to dynasties only in the Vaivasvata Manvantara. So this Chakshusa Manvantara, so the end of Chakshusa Manvantara and then Vaivasvata Manvantara is a period of human beings, human excellence. Prutu lived at the end of Chakshusa Manvantara. Actually, Prutu is the concept of land building and for agriculture and other purposes, land making. It also refers to the degradational agents, which actually every time when a new continent actually there is a system in the world that periodically all small continents join together, make one supercontinent. Then climate, everything changes, and then they break again. So this type of multiple times they have joined together. They have given names of Nina, Rudinia, Gondwana, and then Pangea, and some more times they say claim. Every about 300 crores years, 300 million years, these things happen, join together and break. And that is the period we give to Manvantara. Our Manvantara period also, every time supercontinent comes, everything is destroyed, climate, everything is destroyed. Then once more when they break, then their lands are surrounded by oceans, and then new climatic regions evolve. So that is the period when new rivers started flowing in that region. So that is the indicated by Prutu, the concept of Prutu. And then he is the latest set of conditions, present conditions, actually evolved the Chakshusa Manvantara according to Purana. But the date given by many of the Indological scholars today for Chakshusa Manvantara is not acceptable. That should not be confused. There are many Indologists who squeeze our earth history in 10,000 years. Much of the things that are given in Puranas is connected to geography and landform, which take millions and millions of years. And instead of that, they convert it into historical and Prutu some 5,000 years, and then other Vaivasutamanu 3,000, something. Within 10,000 years, they piece all the ethnic history, we have to say. But they made it as a political history. Actually, the Theosophists actually gave the idea of Prutu and other things as part of history, and our people are taking it. And we should not be confused with that. I have in the previous lecture given that how the geographical ideas are presented in the Puranas. The institute where I work, the KSRI, Kuppuswamy Satri Institute, is publishing as part of its 75th year a book on evolution of the earth, in which I have given all such ideas. Prutu lived at the end of Chakshamanvantara, earth itself became inhabited, and cities and towns developed, and different types of occupations were established only in Vaivasutavantara. These are some clear statements in Vayu Purana and many, many Puranas. Then Vayu Purana, chapter 57-58, describe the life of kings and evolution of human society in different regards. People were living, what Vayu Purana clearly says, people were living in forests. That is Krita Yuga. See, we have got in Purana some of their friends, Krita Yuga is all rishis and other things. Yes, they were no problem. But how the people were there? See, clearly Purana, Vayu Purana is very categorical, very crisp. People are living in forests. That is the first stage of evolution. No villages, no organization of society in Krita Yuga. The climate was temperate, very mild temperate. There was no hierarchy in the society, no fixed occupation. Things took shape of their own accord because they were living in the forest. They were the gatherers and hunters. So they did not produce, they did not keep for the winter. They did not. So, abuddhi purvakam vrittam. See, they don't may take any special effort. Virtues and sinful act had no place in the Yuga. There were no Vedas during the period. There's no organization. There may be organization for hunting other things, but there's no, the kingship was not there at that time. Very clearly, Vayu Purana says. And so, what is it? There is no sinful. See, even today, tribal people, if they are angry, they kill. But today, what we do? We take him to a court and then we punish him and put him in a jail or we hang him. Such things are not there in the primitive society. He will given punishment in such a way that he will be part of the society continuously. He will be forced to look after the family of the person who has killed, or he may be forced to take the wife of a person so that he can be taken care of. Children have to be looked after by him. Something. All the society was inclusive society. It's not a society separated. So that is the society in the Krita Yuga. Only in Treta Yuga, when population increased, Treta and Dwapara Yuga, social classification take place. Vayu Purana clearly states, during the Treta Yuga only, the kingship came, the land ownership came, agriculture came, justice systems came. Only at that time, the fit persons were selected by God and Vedas were given and Puranas were given. So the ancient society, the same society, our own Indian society, our own Hindu society did not have. It is a primitive belief and everything. God was waiting at the Treta Yuga so that people evolve and be ready to take it. That's what the Puranas are very clear. And then climate becomes harsh. And Dwapara Yuga, what happens? More population increases. The climate become harsh. People who were nomads raise villages and towns amidst mountains and rivers. Dharma is established through scriptures, and rule of law comes. Kingship comes. Military comes. Cantonment comes. Forts come. Towns and cities. Trade comes. So Dwapara Yuga, it becomes, so society becomes oppressive. Too much population, too much complication, so it starts deteriorating. Kali, he did not say anything. So Dwapara Yuga, the deterioration of society. So whatever this is evolution of society, what we talk about modern days, this is how society develop, how the society decay. All these things have been represented in our Puranas, especially Vayu Purana, Kurma Purana, Brahmanda Purana, and many Abhabha and Vishnu Dharmotara, Haryamsa. In all these Puranas, we find the great lot of information about these things, and they are all scientific. And these ideas are known to the Westerners for the past 100 years, 150 years, and they have used. But only thing is, I think they have not acknowledged historical Balarama or Halarama. So all this background we should have when we talk about agriculture in India. It is not simply. So all this sequential, what the Vayu Purana doesn't, Rishi doesn't use the word sequential or sequent occupation, but does he not give the information the same way as Huntington gives or Ratzel gives or other geographers present in 19th and 20th century? Shiva is god of agriculture. Vayu Purana states that Lord Shiva incarnates in every Kaliyuga of this Manvantara with 4 disciples to impart knowledge to people. This is similar to Bhagavata and Vishnu Purana, which state that in every Dwapara Yuga, one Vyasa will appear to divide the Vedas and the Purana. So actually in the Vayu Purana and Kurma Purana, they give both. That is 28 in 28 each Manvantara, Dwapara Yuga end, Vishnu incarnates as Vyasa and divides, creates new Purana and divides the Vedas. And then in Kali Yuga, Lord Shiva incarnate as, takes one avatar, human avatar, and then he has 4 disciples, and through them he imparts knowledge, worldly knowledge to the people. That is very, very important. Philosophical, religious, and worldly knowledge. So that is how. So we find Shiva is very important. Why Shiva is important here? Here, during the 22nd Kali age, it actually gives Vayu Purana gives, Kurma Purana gives. In each Chaturyuga, what happened? What are the evolution? What are the avatars of Vishnu? What are the avatars of Shiva? It gives. So in the 22nd Kali Yuga, Lord Shiva's incarnation as Langalin. Langa means the plough, took place. And the Vayu Purana at that time, when he talks about the 22nd Manvantara, Langal Shiva incarnated as Langalin with his 4 Sushyas. I have given Namna Vai Langalin Bhumo. So this is the sloka of 23, 20, 200 Sarga, the 23rd Sarga, 200 sloka, and 201 sloka. He clearly says Shiva has incarnated in the form of Langalin, and he introduced agriculture with the help of plough. Before that, there was no proper agriculture in the world. See, agriculture is given importance, and the deities given, approximate deities given, that the antiquity of the agriculture in India is given clearly, and the antiquity of introduction of agriculture implement, that is the plough, is also given in the Purana. Megasthenes, Indica, Greek sources, because in the Indica book of Megasthenes and Aryan, who came later, both of them refer to the earlier history and social history of India. Before Alexander, India was conquered only by Dionysius. He gives Dionysius is a Greek god of wine, agriculture, and many of the art and craft. He is a great fighter, bowman, another thing. So, and he came to Greece, he is not a native of Greece, he came from the west of Greece. And similarly, he says that Dionysius came to India from the west. That is one of the things they take away for the Westerners. They take here and there 1 or 2 things. So So the people of during his period, that is Indo-Greeks. So our Indians have acknowledged that Balarama also came from the West. There's a reference is there. So the agriculture came to India from the West. That is how they make up the story. But we can study this in detail here. He introduced agriculture and cultivation of wine in Greece. He conquered all countries and those lands. Now, they talk about the Indian dynasties. He introduced cultivation of course, in both countries, the dynasties, there is the semi-divine person as dynasties in Greece and Indian dynasties here in India. He introduced wine cultivation. He conquered all countries and in those lands, he systematized agriculture. Why he did it? Not only he conquered and he taught people agriculture. It is not just to conquer for plunder. Before Dionysius, here it is talk about the Indian Dionysius, people lived in forests and lived by gathering. He built many cities and Indus Valley people could still identify him. He introduced beating of the drums before engaging in battle. See, even some 100 years back, in order to rouse the military, there will be band of drum beaters in the front, and they will beat the drum so that the soldiers will get the proper enthusiasm to fight. So that particular thing was created by him, in the very ancient period, drum beating. And he introduced symbols in procession, jalra, big jalra, that is also he introduced in the procession. He taught the people the art of adorning the head with a turban. So he is the person who introduced people to wear chappal or footwear and then the headgear, turban in India. He taught the people the art of adorning head with a turban. He taught many agricultural practices to people. Heracles identified with Krishna. See, all Indo-Greeks and Greeks, in their literature, they recognize two people. One is Heracles and another is Dionysius. This Heracles is identified with Sri Krishna. And Dionysius is actually identified with Balarama. Heracles, identified with Krishna, was a great king and an incarnation of God. These are all the information he has collected and presented in this book, Indica. Dionysius lived, and the most important information about Dionysius is, or Indian Dionysius is, he lived 15 generations before Heracles. That Aryan, another Greek writer, came to India along with the Seleucus Niceta, who also wrote a book on India. In this book, he identified three dynasties. He says, many of the information given by Augustine is not correct or inaccurate. So, but he says it's not one dynasty, there were three dynasties in India. All the three helped agriculture in India. Now, our question is how to identify. He says the three, just to give you a reference, he has not gone beyond that. But we have to identify them. How to identify the three dynasties? There was no ruler in India by name Dionysius, nor no Indian king's name is phonetically near to it. Magazines wrongly surmised Halarama as the Dionysius, and Dionysius brought wine to their countries because he thought that this India was greatly civilized. He thought that people or this Dionysius might have come from India to Greece. That's also he believed, because according to him, or he believed the Indian narration that these people lived long back, because he came 300 BCE. And so, but our Mahabharata, according to tradition, he must have been told 5,000 years ago, Kali Yuga. So, some long back, he lived means he moved. This same Dionysius or Balarama should have gone to Greece. That's what the idea. Megasthenes wrongly surmised Halarama as he and Dionysius brought wine to their country. So Balarama is also fond of wine, and so the image of or icon of Balarama always used to one of the hands there to hold a wine flask. The fact that Megasthenes say that Dionysius came from the west need not mean outside India. This is on the interpretation of the Western. Where did he collect the information? When he came, that is Megasthenes or Alexander came, at that time, the Indus Valley civilization is almost the fag end. So it was a Ganga civilization, which was very, very prominent. Punjab and Ganga region is prominent. So where did he go? He actually went to many parts of India, but mainly he stayed in Pataliputra. And all over India, people were worshipping Balarama as a god of agriculture. And he identified the Balarama. And if you ask from where we see a local god, no sir, he came from the west because he came from the Dwaraka region. So the people on the eastern side were referring that he came from the west. But since he's an Indo-Greek, he wrote a book that he and referred to Dionysius, the god of agriculture, came to this region from the west. Other historians have surmised that he is an outsider to India. So, as he gathered much information from Magadha region and Sindhu Saraswati Valley, he is located west of that country or Magadha. The three Dionysius referred to by Aryan can be identified as Prutu, who came from the thigh of his father, as Dionysus did. Actually, when his father died, he is a demigod, and from the thigh, the Dionysius was brought out by other gods. Similarly, here in the case of Prutu, we have got two versions. One is from the thigh in one Purana, and the other Purana from the hand of Vena. He came. So, this birth also again. So, Theosophists actually refer to Prutu as in the Purana as the earliest person. But Prutu actually born, and Puranas also say Prutu leveled the land because he made Manu as the calf and then brought all the agricultural products that is the reference in the Purana. So, Prutu, who came from the thigh of his father as Dionysius. So, Prutu, Langalin and Balarama belong to. See, if you see the Vayu Purana, Kurma Purana, Bhagavata refers to, because in Bhagavata, many of the information is available and not clear-cut in this manner. Because Bhagavata gives information, geographical and social information, right from a kalpa, that is from the 2000 million years of history it is given. Whereas Vayu Purana concentrates on this Chaturyuga and this Manvantara. The last 20 Chaturyugas, it narrates whatever happened. So this is the record of the recent thing. So here clearly they refer in the first Manvantara, in the first Chaturyuga, the Prutu was born. Because Prutu is actually the condition that again and again they are born according to our Puranas. And in the 22nd Manvantara, the 22nd Chaturyuga, the Langalin, Shiva as incarnate Langalin. And in 28th Dwapara Yuga, the 22nd Kali, Shiva came. 28th Dwapara, we find Balarama. So, of them, the most important is Balarama, the brother of Sri Krishna. See, Balarama and Sri Krishna are known to whole of India in a different manner. That is, one is the pastoral, god of pastoral region, another is god of agriculture. Sri Krishna and Balarama, two dimensions of economy in Western India at that time. See Balarama and Sri Krishna. Krishna pastoral image and Balarama agriculture image. Then Krishna is urban sophistication and Balarama rustic power, fondness for drinking, insatiability of immoral pleasure and connection to water. Then he created the Krishna had a divine Rasalila. He also had a rustic Rasalila indulgence. Balarama. Idealized God, Haladara, the deity of agriculture, people conceive as the chief of cooperatives of agriculture. So in this way, two dimensions of ancient economy, these two gods represented during the Saraswati River civilization period. So the Sri Krishna and Balarama in transforming India. 5,000 years ago, we can divide India two. One on the land on the west of Yamuna, from Mathura to Dwaraka, including the lower Narmada Valley, and the other, the land east of Yamuna. The eastern region is composed of ancient kingdoms like Mithila, Kosala, Magadha, Anga, Vanga, Kamarupa, etc. This region included many countries in Madhyadesha, where the population is mainly composed of Kshatriya and Brahmins and artisans. The religion was strictly Vedic religion. Food habits included copious use of meat products. This continued till Ashoka period. Since Ashoka, in his own edict, he says that he has prevented much use of animals in the food provided to all the poor people. So poor feeding was done by like that. The Rantideva, the Purana extolled about the Rantideva, but Rantideva place actually his place is on the bank of the Chambal. Chambal means in a way blood. His palace was located on the bank of the Chambal River. So he was killing a lot of animals to provide all the mendicants and other poor people. Poor feeding he was doing. And so what happened? The blood, when killing and cleaning takes place, then much of the cleaned blood actually joined in the river. So it is known as the blood river. So it is Chambal. So the name of the river itself got the name. So what he gave along with the vegetarian food, he mixed the meat. That was the great food in those days. So that is very common. Even Ashoka period, it was like that, and everybody was taking. It was actually there was no restriction about that. It's a common practice in those days. Okay, that was the food habits in those regions. That is in the east of Yamuna River. That's very, very important. Then, in the western side, there was a loose federation of pastoral communities. Balarama introduced new agriculture practices like preparing the level land for agriculture, for efficient use of ploughs, transplantation method of seeding. Actually, all information or geographical information will be clothed or will be transformed in the form of stories and allegorical representation in Indian Puranas and Itihasa. So the Sankarshana, the word Sankarshana, this is taking the womb from one to another, is strictly referred to transplanting of seedlings, see rice and other seedlings. So here also it is growing, but in the early stage it is plucked and planted. So he is given the name Sankarshana because he has invented the practice, introduced the practice, he made people to adopt the practices. So Sankarshana introducing irrigation methods like diverting the river. There are two methods of taking river water for agriculture. One is drawing canals, and another is dividing rivers. That is in the south, the Kaveri river is divided into Koldidam, Koldrum, and then Kaveri. What they do, they plant certain trees and they gather sand under them and creates island. And so the river is divided on both sides. In this way, the Varayu, the ancient Chola, got Kaveri water because previously water was available only in Koldrum, a distant place. Because of that, the Kaveri, the original Kaveri was divided into two, and then they got water from Kaveri. They are able to draw from canals. So in this way, he created the water. That is the referred to as he brought the Yamuna river to his Rasalila. He effortlessly did. That's what I say. So bringing Yamuna to Gokula. Sri Krishna looked after animal husbandry. So north of Yamuna, Krishna is worshipped more. But south of Yamuna, Balarama is very prominent. The important seaports were in the hands of the groups called Yadavas. The tremendous development occurred in agriculture, and cereals became a good substitute for meat products. Cereals and um, animal products like milk and other things became a substitute for the meat product in this particular region. Because Krishna was in the Mathura region, because the enemy's attack, he comes all along more than about 1,000 kilometers and settles the fag end of Dwaraka. How can see at that time it was divided into many small states? Then how come Krishna make his capital along the distant place? Because it's a loose federation, same group of people adopting, and their interests were the same, and so he was able to shift his capital. So we never say that Krishna ruled all the places, but he could easily go to other place and create a cantonment and a cantonment city so that he can protect all the Yadavas or western world, western part of India from the invaders, both from the east and the west. The western side was a loot federation. Okay. That though the Yadavas were fighting between themselves, they joined as a federation to oppose common enemy from the east. The rise in agriculture gave rise to Jainism later. Cereals were cultivated in most plains. Cultivation was done with simple tools, but agriculture was not systematic. Oh, it was not actually. It was a slide before. Okay. There was no difference in food habits among different varnas. But rishis widely practice austerity. Those rishis who practice austerity were strict vegetarian. Wheat was a principal grain in northern India. Sangam literature shows that along with rice, yava, they took rabbit meat and other meats common. There are in literature, Alvar literature also, there are muyal, iruppa, kakkai pin povadu. When you have got in your hand rabbit to eat, who the fool will go in search of the crow, meat of the crow. That is one literary reference of Alvar. So that shows the people have the habit of eating the non-vegetarian along with. Actually, they mix in both and they eat. All these things dramatically affected the advent of Balarama. Balarama is a god of agriculture. Balarama is a god of agriculture in ancient India, and hence he is known as Halarama too. Vishnu Dharmottara refers directly to Balarama as related to agriculture. It also says those who want physical power and prosperous agriculture should worship Balarama. Krishikama, those who are Krishikama should worship Balarama. Rishi Parasara refers to Sita Yajna at the beginning of an agricultural operation. What is Sita? That we'll see in the next slide. It is customary in North India to initiate the agricultural operation with a prayer to Balarama only. Om Klim Kalindi Bhedanaya Sankarshanaya Swaha. With this mantra only, the plough should be set on the soil. This mantra is recited, every recital of Dauji. Dauji is the endearing name for Balarama in North India, and especially used as an epithet, referred to the act of creating a furrow in the plough. Why Puri Jagannath Kshetra? In Puri Jagannath, the three deities, Sri Krishna, Balarama or Balabhadra, and Subhadra are without their consorts. See how Balarama is also connected to agriculture. See the Krishna's family and Balarama. See here Balarama, Halarama, man with the plough. Rama, tip of the plough is known as Rama. And Sita, that's a Sita Yajna. Sita, the furrow you make by the tip of the plough is called Sita, and that is why when Janaka did plough the land for Yajna, Sita was a baby girl was found, and she was named as Sita. Revati, one among the 10 fertility goddesses in Veda. Rohini, the meaning to sprout. Vatsala, well cared of. Subhadra, well protected. Krishna, to prepare, Karishyati, Krishna, to prepare well. Lord of mountains and Lord of rain. In Tamil literature also, he Andal, the Alvar seeks rain from the Krishna only. Adi Made Kanna, you give me rain for agriculture. Then Rukmani, Ritam, seasoned or season. So all the family names are connected to agriculture. Subhadra. Subhadra, the sister, brother of Balarama and Sri Krishna. In the rite of Ashwamedha ceremony, the sacrifice heart is to sleep with a woman deity called Subhadrika, who lives in the celestial city of Kampila. Kampila is city historically, it is the city of Draupadi, where Draupadi was born. Even today, that with the name city is there, old new town is there. In Mantra Brahmana, a Subhadra probably finds a mention along with Sinivali, Pratastaka, Patya, and Revati. Like other goddesses, she also appears to be connected with fertility. Then it is customary in India that both male and female deities are worshipped along with consorts. It is very customary that we separately male god will not be worshipped. Shiva with Parvati, Vishnu with Bhudevi, Sridevi, like that. Rama with Sita, like that only we worship. We don't worship individually either female deity or male deity. It's not in the temples, we don't find many places. Except there are certain one or two Kali and other things. Apart from that, most of the deities are along their consort only. Usually Krishna will be worshipped along with Rukmani, Satyabhama, or Krishna with Radha. Balarama will be worshipped along with Revati. That's all. The icons also mandatory. Shuttani Pata, the icon making signs of Jain. It clearly says how to make the what are the lakshanas of Balarama. The image of his consort should be there, Revati should be there, and he must be holding a madhu, flask of madhu in their hand, like that, it gives all. Balarama will be worshipped along with Revati. Similarly, Subhadra should be worshipped along with Arjuna. It is generally, in South Indian temples, it's like that. In Orissa, they have the headless figure of Lajja Gauri as the goddess of prosperity. In Orissa, the traditional idea is that agriculture came to them from Gujarat through Balarama. They owe much of their prosperity to systematic agriculture introduced from the West. Hence, we find the peculiar practice in Puri Jagannath. Krishna, Balarama, and Subhadra are worshipped as gods, and they are directly associated with agriculture and no place for their consorts. So, this clearly shows that they gave prominence to agriculture, and these people were, it's mainly to venerate the greatness of agriculture gods. The Puri Jagannath temple have only those people associated with the agriculture and not the consorts who are not connected to it. Then role of rishis in propagating agriculture and vegetarianism. Though the Vedic rishis had no inhibition towards taking meat, many have taken to vegetarian food by choice. Now the development of systematic agriculture by Balarama of Indus-Saraswati basin and the widespread development of cultivable areas by kings throughout India increased the food availability in India. The rishis played an important role in diffusion of new techniques in agriculture. Among them, two stand out mainly. One is Parasara Rishi. So his book Krishi Parasara is an important text on agriculture and animal husbandry. Our KSR Institute, in the commemoration of our 75th year celebration, they are releasing 15 books. And among the 15 books, one book is this Krishi Parasara, translation of Krishi Parasara. Then second one is Agastya. At least in 10 Mahapuranas and numerous other literature talk about sage Agastya's journey to South India. The Agastya Rishi is very, very common throughout South Asia and Southeast Asia. Agastya Rishi is very common. So in literature also, he is one of the most important, and his visit is recorded. His contribution to agriculture in Peninsular India is recorded in this text in Purananuru. It's a Sangam literature, Purananuru. Here, a Barana, the great Sangam poet, addresses the king of King Ai. The king's name is Ai. He is the kingdom of Ai country. This Ai country is in the part of Kanyakumari district of Tamil Nadu, southernmost part. It's a Kerala, Tamil Nadu border state. And this country traditionally known as Nanjil Nadu. Nadu means country, state, and Nanjil means plough. So plough country indicative of the greatness of the introduction. Kanyakumari is known for agriculture. So rice cultivation. So that the earliest part of agriculture has taken place in Kanyakumari, that is referred to. What is the beautiful passage in Purananuru says, he addresses the king, O King Ai, 47 generations ago, even this Shanga king was actually some 2500 years old. And 2500 years old, the king is addressed by the poet Baranar, and then he addresses what he says. Ittarai potrum uttarai kayiriyil kannudar kadavul nannudal. See, I am recounting you a story, man. That is 47 generations before you. There is a genealogically they remember how many generations in each area in India, because every king had Magadha, Vandi, and Suta. So they remember, and bards were there to record and remember and propagate the ideas to the people. People were remembering names. Even Megasthenes writer, the Indian people can refer to 167 generations of kings. That's what he says. So 47 generations ago, Ittarai pottum uttarai kayil kannudar kadavul nannudal umai vaduvai, he married Parvati. At that time, what happened? Devarum moovarum chittarum andai thirandiruppa. Because of that, to see that marriage, the Devas and the three prime deities, the Shiva and Indra and other people, and then the Siddhas, all people have gathered. What happened because of that? Population has concentrated in one place. So, சித்தரும் ஆண்டை திரண்டிருப்ப உத்தரம் தாழ்ந்து தக்கணமும் உயர்ந்தது. The north, the Himalayan region subsided, whereas the South India rose. So there is an imbalance. It's not, land is not flat, but it's tilted, got tilted. அதனை கண்ணுற்ற திரிபுரம் எரித்த விதிசடை கடவுள். So as when Shiva saw that this particular thing that has happened, see, land is not balanced, so people cannot live. Then he called Agastya, கண்ணுதர் கடவுள் மண்பதி காக்க. Then he called Agastya, அதனை கண்ணுற்ற திருபுரம் எரித்த விரிசரை கடவுள் தென்புலம் காத்து தென்புலம் காத்து மண்பதை உயர்த்த. மடதிசை போந்த குடமுனியை விழித்து. So she was the Agastya was living in the Vindhya region. He had been to the Himalayas to witness the marriage of Parvati. He said, you are the fit person, go to the south and reside in Podigai hills. So because of your weight, you can your tapas power, you can once more flatten the surface so that people will live peacefully. So go there. So clearly, so go to the south and reside. Now the most important part of the information. This is only a preamble. Now what happened? What is the information or takeaway to the in the case of agriculture? Arnadu aanayai siramel tangi, taking this order of Shiva, word of Shiva as order, immediately he said to the south. But he did not want to come to the south, make his presence. Instead, he wanted to do a great thing to the society. So what he did? Agathian பண்ணிட்டார். அருணதானியை சிறமையில் தாண்டி அகத்தியன் துவராபதி போந்து he went to Dwaraka region, துவராபதி ஆங்குரை நிலம் கடந்த நெடுமுடி அண்ணல் வழிக்கண் அரசர். அங்க யாரு, who were the people living? They were the descendant of the Lord Krishna. Who is the Lord Krishna? Who scaled the earth, that is the Tripura, actually Vamana Trivikrama. This Trivikrama is who scaled the world, 3 worlds. So he is the descendant of this Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna was not that. It was happened later. This particular information takes after Krishna. The Agastya comes there and then collect the kings. Vazhikan on the genealogy that he met the people, and 18 kings, chief or agriculture chieftain he collects, and 18 groups of people, aruvalargal, people, workers, lot of workers who are well versed in agriculture, and comes to your region, Nanjil Nadu, the I country, and he kaadu geduthu nana. Tamilians did not know at that time. So he taught the people from the Gujarat who were brought by Agastya, and then he brought and level the land, destroy the forest, level the land, given the irrigation facilities and crop cultivation is everything. Like the plantation agriculture is being introduced in the western region, to the in the west coast, the mountain region in India. This is agriculture has been brought by Agastya and introduced in the south. So this is the beautiful the contribution of rishis towards agriculture. We have one problem with Agastya's story. Since the cream of Yadava clan perished 36 years Mahabharata, and the Yadavas were never again united, how could Agastya get so many people to move to South India? Megasthenes provides the answer. He says that Dionysius or Balarama lived 30 generations before the birth of Heracles, Sri Krishna, or 15 generations. Probably that means Lord Shiva Langalin, who appeared in the 22nd Kali of Vayasuta Manvantara as the true Haladar, who introduced new method of agriculture. See, here there is a confusion of ideas by to actually to Megasthenes. So there were 3 people. One is Prithu, who was also associated with agriculture and preparation of land, and second one is Langalin, who introduced plough and systematic agriculture, sedentary agriculture, and third Balarama, who propagated new methods of agriculture. So there is even Balarama is thousands of years older, earlier. So Langalin was quite earlier to Balarama, and Prithu was earlier to. So these names he confused. So as the true Haladar, who introduced new methods of agriculture, Sri Krishna's brother Balarama, who came later as a Langalin, because he also Langalin means he also supported the plough. Langalin, India, in the same region, also contributed to agriculture, and hence, due to passage of time, the 2 Halarams or Haladars or Langalins, this Shiva Langalin and Balarama are mixed and made one by Megasthenes. We know Lakshmana, the brother of Sri Rama, as also as Sesha Amsa, and helped to played a greater role Ramavatar compared to Balarama's role during Krishnavatar was limited. But still, we have no temple exclusively for Lakshmana, but Balarama has temple throughout India from very ancient time. This is mainly due to his image of god of agriculture. By natural divisions of Tamil Nadu, James Fraser, in his book Golden Bow, a study of magic and religion, he wrote his book, updated, he wrote his book in 1890 and updated his book in the next 40 years it was updated. He says a concept of, actually generally socialists say, you go to forest, you are afraid of the forest, and then you start worshipping the trees for help. So that's what they say. So fear is the key for the need for God. That is the social scientist narration. But he says it is not so. Concept of God develops in any society for three purposes. Please remember, it is not that man who started living in the forest. Even before him, animals, birds, everything was living. So man was living in the forest, which was his natural habitat. So he is especially afraid and seek the help of an external force called God. It's not so. But sociologists give this idea. Because today we are living in light, a lighted area. We are afraid to go to the darkened area. We are living in the towns and villages, afraid to go to the mountain region. So we say that this fear has invoked our belief in God. It is not so. That's what Fraser says. So concept of God develops in the society for three purposes. One, to ward off evil or assist distress. Ward off evil for his cattle and himself. To get their wishes fulfilled. And second reason is to get their wishes fulfilled. Get a bountiful crop, like that. Third one, the heroes who perform superhuman action are elevated to godhood or deified. So Rama, Krishna, and other, what he says, that all the Greek or whatever they call Grima, they say clearly the early information in the epics in any country says they were born. Rama was born, Krishna was born. So they say they were born, but they performed extraordinary action beyond the human capacity, and so they were deified, made gods by the people. So that is one of the things that these people are elevated. So this idea he gives. Tamil Nadu, so the Balarama, Krishna, Rama, everything, but they were living people, performed even socially, even though the divinity is as is given by Puranas and religious people is not accepted, but they have performed extraordinary things beyond the human excellence, and so they are deified. In Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu was divided into 5 natural divisions, even in Sanga period. That's known as Aindinai, 5 divisions. Kurunji, Mullai, Marudam, Neidal, Palai. These are the 4 divisions. Kurunji is mountain region. Mullai is a grassland. Marudam is a grassland and forest. And Marudam is agricultural land. Neidal is a coastal land. And Palai is deserts or dry region. So this is how. And respectively, the Kurunji or mountain, the god is Muruga. Then Mullai, the forest region, grassland region, god is Krishna. Then Marudam, the agricultural land, lord of this series is Indra. Then Neidal, that is the coastal land, the lord is actually Varuna. And then Palai, the dry lands, incultivable land, is Kotravai or mother goddess Lakadi. Okay. So these are the 5 natural divisions. Even though Northern India had larger desert and larger mountain, they don't have that division. But in South India, they had the division in the Sangam period. Among the 5 gods, Murugan and Kotravai, because actually nowadays there is a clash whether Muruga and Subramanya. Muruga is nothing but Subramanya, that Tamil name for Subramanya. People say, no, this is a native god. And Kotravai is also native god. Actually, Kottavai is also the name given to goddess protecting the fort, like the Langini. So the Devi protecting the fort is known as Kottavai, and that might have become again Kottavai here. And Subramanya is the Muruga here. Kottavai are native to Tamil Nadu. That's what some people say. But what about other 3 people? Muruga being the god of hunting and Kottavai mother goddess to protect people. That's what the people say. But all ancient civilizations like Egypt, Greek, Roman, Sumerian, and others had separate god and goddesses for agriculture, rain, winds, etc. We don't find any such primitive god assigned to these fields in the ancient Tamil Nadu. Sangha literature, you don't have what is something which is not connected to the Vedic gods they didn't have. Hence, as systematic agriculture and cattle rearing came from the Indus Saraswati region basin, the relevant gods Balarama, Krishna were also accepted by Tamil people. In North India, Indra is invoked for rain and Balarama for bumper crop. Similarly, in Vedic god of Indra was taken as Maruda land or agricultural land division of India. So they didn't have any native god. That shows That all these things actually, much of the religious practices and social practices in South India have direct bearing and direct influence from the Vedic civilization of in the Saraswati region. Okay. Later, when Tamil people moved to the coastal area, new economic activities and sea trade being devoid of native representation, they took Vedic god Varuna as a lord of coastal. There's no god for wind. Even though the Tamil people were going in the sea for a long time, they were worshipping only Varuna. Okay. Thus we can say that the Aintani Paguppu, the 5 division in Tamil Nadu land, came after their interaction with the Indus Saraswati people. Some interesting fact about Balarama in Tamil Nadu. In Tamil name, Vellai means white. Vellachami, Vellappan, Vellayan. So all these names, Tamil people are, many people have these names. And all this refers to Adisesha and Balarama. Both of them are white in color. He is an avatar of Sesha and white in color. He was always drunk and pleased in the company of women. Fashion setter at that time, because he tucked his dhoti. Even today, the people, the cowherds who are milking for convenience, the one side of the dhoti they will tuck in the hip. So that is the style developed by Balarama. Tucked up one earring, even modern boys have earring in only one ear. That is actually the fashion set by Balarama. For the blue garments, always with Kadamba flower. Okay. Now, Iru Talai Meli. Now, the symbol of Swasti. If you go to the internet and search for the Swasti, how the symbols came, you will get an array of answers. And of course, we cannot question any of them because we don't have any literary clear-cut information about the Swastik symbol. Recently, in a lecture, a great professor also postulated the idea of the Swastik is nothing but the Saptarishi Mandala, the shape of Saptarishi Mandala in 4 seasons, how it turns. So that is amalgamated and made this symbol. But what do we have a literary evidence about this Swastik? How did it come? What is the significance? We have, it is connected to agriculture. It is referred to in Tamil ancient Sangam literature as Iru Talai Meli. Meli means plough. Nanjil is also plough. Meli is also plough in Tamil. So Iru Talai Meli, two-headed ploughs. What is the meaning of that? I have given the swastika here on the right hand side. I have drawn. That is, we plough the land and we cultivate so that our people can be fed. That is for this world. But for attaining the greater Swarga and other greater worlds also, we perform yaga. Even to perform yaga, because there will be yaga veti, to create yaga veti and yaga gunda. The heat that generates there may kill insects and other living organisms below the soil. So we plough the land so that they will go away, and then above that only we are creating, we are making the yaga veti. So for that again we start ploughing. So one plough for worldly existence, one plough for heavenly existence. So these worldly existence is represented by a plough that is facing downwards, and the plough, the yajna, performance of yajna will take us to other great worlds. That is represented by urdhva, the langaling. So the 2 langalings set opposite direction is actually artistically, when it is converted, it becomes a swastika symbol. So this is both ways. The swastika symbol represents ploughing the land for food, for agriculture for this world, and then ploughing the land for performing of yagashala. So in this way, agriculture has become a great symbol. I mean, the symbol, the greatest symbol, swastik, is the representation of agriculture. So this is I think it's the most important authentic information regarding the swastika, I think. Then, Balarama and Jain tradition, Trishashti Salaka Purusha Charita. So the Jain tradition, in the history of
Sir,
yes,
sir, sorry to interrupt you.
yes,
How much more will be there now?
just 2 slides.
2 slides. Okay, because now 4 o'clock that program is there. That's why, sir.
Okay,
No
okay,
problem. Go ahead. Yeah.
okay. Trishashti Salaka Purusha, in the history of 63 torch bearers of Jain faith. So there are about 9 Balabhadras and 24 Tirthankaras, 9 Vasudevas, 9 Pratyavasudevas, and other things are 63 people are very important. And whenever a Balabhadra is born, or Balarama is known in Jainism as Balabhadra, a Narayana is born, that is Krishna. Balabhadra is always the elder brother of Narayana. See, they will take, both of them will take birth, and they will same different parents at different periods, but they will carry the same emblem. But Balabhadra, because he is doing peaceful agriculture operation, that he is a great, he is given a greater importance in Jainism than Sri Krishna or the Vasudeva. All the Balabhadra perform penance and ascend higher world, while Narayana assumes the same qualities, not immediately. Both Balabhadra and Narayana carry the same emblems. So Jain tradition and Jainism has been much benefited by this Balabhadra or Balarama. It is well documented that meat eating was very common in India except by individual communities. Balarama encouraged systematic agriculture in Bharat by revolutionary practices. This increased the food production, alternate to meat production tremendously. Though Jainism and vegetarianism was old, lack of alternative or substitute to meat products affected its spread. Given the opportunity, they took Balarama and Krishna as Salaka Purushas and spread their message of vegetarianism and Jainism simultaneously. So, conclusion: from ancient times, Balarama, Halarama, or Haladar, or Balabhadra was worshipped throughout India as god of agriculture, prosperity, and personal health. His worship can be traced to early Indus Saraswati river civilization, which was later adopted in all regions in India. In Puri Kshetra, Balarama, Krishna, and Subhadra are worshipped as gods of agriculture and cattle rearing. Though Krishna and Balarama lived at the same time, due to long passage of time, people have forgotten the role played by the peaceful god Balarama as god of agriculture. Since Bharat was subjected to attack from enemies across the border for the past thousands of years, Krishna, as the annihilator of enemies, gained prominence and Balarama left behind. Thank you very much. I thank the organization for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share some of my ideas. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really wonderful, very exhaustive, and lot of coverage. I think most detailed coverage, perhaps, in this subject can be this. We really are looking forward to listening more things from you. And again, thank you so much for bringing it out on this important topic and on special day. So thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Namaste. Namaste.
Pranam. Pranam.
Pranam.